Josh and Tina. Read about their story in my book, Aware, Find Out Who You Are Without Porn. I'll leave a link to the book in the description below. Read about how they fell in love when they were too young until they became 17. Read about that night which destroyed that love, which destroyed these emotions that they had for one another. And that night was when they decided to have their first sexual interaction. And why sex became the beginning of an end to their relationship, you may ask. Because all what Josh had learned and knew about sex came straight from internet pornography. And this what all the research of today's episode is all about. Welcome to another episode of Porndemic. Today's research was conducted by the Department of Psychology at the University of the West of England, and it is titled Exploring the Effect of Sexually Explicit Material on the Sexual Beliefs, Understanding, and Practices of Young Men, a qualitative survey. When I conducted the coaching session with Josh back in the days, he confessed to me that he was a bit rough when he had intercourse with his girlfriend. Let me quote what he exactly said to me on that day. He said, "Yes, I did smack her back, pulled her hair hard, called her dirty names and choked her several times, just like it is shown on porn films. But instead of seeing her enjoying it, which was my intention, she was instead screaming from pain." Josh was doing what he was doing because he knew that this is the way how a person conducts himself while having sex. He thought that smacking, choking, pulling the hair is part of the package of sexual intimacy. Why? Because it is taught on porn. And the research is suggesting that young men of that age, 18 to 24, 25, can be easily influenced by the type of media they watch. And as a result of this violent relationship between Josh and Tina on that night, Tina was rushed to the hospital with massive cuts in her private part, leaving her with 13 stitches. So sexually explicit materials of that nature do have a negative impact on young minds. These images could easily change the beliefs about sexual intimacy, their attitudes, as well as their actions when they encounter these scenarios with their partners. Before going further with the study at hand, please find a link where you can download the entire research in the description below. So what were the findings after surveying these young men aged 18 to 25 about their experience with sexually explicit content? The research suggested that these images have indeed influenced their sexual belief, understanding, and behavior negatively for the following reasons. Number one, the availability of these content of pornography. As some of us may know, that one of the pornographic websites on the internet have boasted of 42 billion visits to their website, a single website, on a single year in the year 2019 alone. So you can imagine the availability of these materials on the internet. So one of the reasons why young men are influenced, not only them being influenced, but their belief about sex, their behavior about sex, and their actions because of the accessibility and the availability of such content. Number two, these young men have realized the escalation of extreme and bizarre content. So it's not only about two people having sex, but the content itself became so extreme in nature, including violence, just like the examples we mentioned about the story of Josh and Tina. Number three, young men also believe that family and or sex education around this subject is so essential. It could offer them protection from falling prey to these images. Number four is the confusion factor. Young men are no longer able to differentiate between real sex and fantasy, and as a result, many of them, they will act out their fantasy in real life situations, and as a result they may end up just like how Tina ended up in the hospital. Number five, the unhealthy sex lifestyle being portrayed in pornography, where if it happened in real life situation, a person may end up having a lot of sexually transmitted diseases, as an example. And finally, number 6, websites of that nature fail to educate and guide youngsters on knowing what's right and what's wrong when it comes to boundaries, when it comes to seeking permissions or consent. All these messages are absent from pornographic websites. So here you go. Pornography did not leave any segment of the society without impacting it negatively in a way or another. And it is only education and awareness that will save whatever remained from the innocence of our children. And it is your responsibility and mine, no one else. Open up honest conversations with them. Provide them with the necessary tools and education so that they do not fall prey to these images. And always assure them that you're there for them. That's about it for today's episode. If you found the content beneficial, then share it please with everyone. And don't forget, before leaving, subscribe to our channel. Don't forget, subscribe to our channel, leave comments below, and we'll see you next Thursday. See you then.